Guys, Marcinkin here bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so the next world tournament is coming to global tomorrow, everybody's favorite game mode. I'm going to be doing a very special world tournament weekend. We tried out in the past doing the full 24-hour world tournament subathon with varying results, so we have a new plan for this weekend. The goal is still going to be to stream the World Tournament for 24 hours across the weekend, but it's going to be split up into 3 streams. So using the same subathon rules where we keep putting up the timer, each of the 3 streams can potentially go for 8 hours. If we get over the 8 hours on one of the stream will still end at the 8-hour mark, but all of that time will carry over to the next stream. So we'll start the second stream on the Saturday with time already on the timer, and of course if we end up hitting the full time at any point, we'll just be locked in for the full 3 8-hour streams. So keep an eye out for that. I've posted the images over on Twitter and in the Discord to give all the details. The first one starts in the morning tomorrow, basically about an hour and a half after the World Tournament starts. I don't like to jump in right at the beginning, just out of superstition that I'll be more likely to be put into locals with all the tryhards. And you know people are going to be going crazy for this one, because this is the first world tournament where we are going to be getting the LR Pilaf trio as the overall world tournament reward. So this world tournament was the 50th on JP. I can't remember which one it is on global. I know we're a couple behind in terms of the numbers, but we are going to be getting the LR Pilaf trio as well as 4 EZA'S, continuing the trend, right, of getting 1 EZA from the DB Saga banner, which is this AGL Great Ape Kid Goku, and then 3 EZA'S for the old world tournament reward cards, the AGL Final Form Cooler, the Tech Ultimate Gohan, and then the Int Super Trunks. So we'll go over the details for these guys here, as well as the information on getting them. Of course, you need these World Tournament medals in order to get their the EZA'S, and then the standard World Tournament medals that drop. If you've been doing World Tournaments for quite a while, you'll probably have a ton of these, so just be able to awaken the Pilaf straight away. But of course, we won't get his card until the rewards at the very end. When we actually, I need to double check the rewards, because they did change it. I think the friend reward one, you don't get them till the end, do you? It was only when they added the LRs and stuff later for the EZAs. So we will have to wait until the rewards. Like I say, people might go a bit harder in this world tournament just to actually try and get that first place in the local locked in, so they can get 2 copies of the Pilaf gang. But if we take a look here at the world tournament brackets, if you want to get as many EZAs as possible, they have upped the number of medals you get in the rewards now. So if you finish in the top 2,000, so anywhere from 1001 to 2000, that is the lowest bracket now where you get enough medals to EZA 4 characters. So if you finish in the top 2000, you'll be able to do all 4 of the new EZAs. If you come below that, you can see here as we go down, you get enough medals for 3. Top 50,000, oh yeah, it's all the way down to the top 200,000. So as long as you're in the top 200,000, actually no, wait, you need, that's 60, isn't it? Yeah, it's this one here, it's 50,000, because 90 medals, because you need 30 rainbow, 30 gold, 40 silver and 15 bronze. So as long as you finish in the top 50,000 overall, you can EZA 3 of the characters, which is pretty good. The DB Saga ones are usually the hardest ones to get, so I can't imagine a lot of people out there are going to have that Kid Goku Rainbow ready to go, but that's how you get all of the characters EZA'd. And then when we look at the special missions, things like getting your total number of wins will get you an extra copy of the Cooler, the Gohan, and the Trunks, as well as, you know, a bunch of the tickets and extra medals and things like that. As you get through the certain score, that's how you get the Hercule signatures that you can build up to get the medals that you'll need if you haven't already EZA'd the Tien and Chaozu, or if you still haven't EZA'd the Piccolo, and of course saving up for the future for the EZA for Yamcha and Poir. We just got the information for them over on JP, because they are going to be releasing with the next JP anniversary. And we're still able to get an extra copy of the TN, so if you didn't have the LRTN rainbowed already, regardless of whether you got him EZA'd, you can get an extra copy from him once you get to 20 million points. And of course the wins in a row also give you the extra copies of Cooler, Gohan and Trunks. So if you get to 15 wins in a row, you get 2 copies of both of these extra World Tournament cards, which is nice if you're missing any copies, if you need to rainbow them, but also nice, of course, if you are a long-term player and you had them rainbowed already, you might want to change their hidden potential based on how their EZAs have turned out. So that is definitely very, very useful. And of course, the local overall, as we know, 2 copies at first. You get 1 copy as long as you at least finish in the top 150. Remember that to rainbow a character, you need 5 copies anyway. So it's already going to take 3 world tournaments in order to get this guy to rainbow, which means you can afford out of those 3 to not finish first once if you want to get him rainbowed as quickly as possible. And then of course you get more Hercule signatures. These are the things that are important for the future EZA'S. So as long as you finish in the top 3 in your local, you get a decent number of those, right? 100. You also get a lot more stones for finishing first in the local as well. So let's take a look at the units themselves. So the LR Pilaf gang, Pilaf and Shu and Mai, they are a Dragon Ball Seekers lead for 130%. Their super attack, the 12 key raise attack for 1 turn, does colossal damage. The 18 key raise attack for 1 turn, mega colossal damage, and a high chance to stun. They have an entrance animation, where they change physical key spheres to AGL, tech, or STR for 5 turns from their entry turn. They get 120 attack and defense, additional 40% attack and defense when performing a super attack, additional attack and defense 40% if it is an ultra super, so they get 80% on super if it's an 18 key. Then they get an additional 1 key per type key sphere obtained. They get additional attack and defense 70% and launch an additional an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super if they've picked up an AGL orb, or they get 100% defense and a high chance to dodge if they pick up a tech orb, or they get 100% attack and a high chance to crit, as well as sealing the attacked enemy if they get an STR orb. Then they launch an additional super attack if you get 7 or more orbs. Then they change int key spheres to AGL, tech, or STR when there is an enemy whose name includes Goku. So if you have an enemy whose name includes Goku, or while their intro buff is still active, they will change int and physical orbs to AGL, tech, or STR. I believe they do proc separately, so they might turn them into different colors, right? It's not like they're automatically going to turn physical and int into the same type. But then this is very interesting because you can pick up the 7 orbs with them to get a guaranteed additional super. And then depending on the orb that you pick up, depends on the buff that you get. So if you are in a situation where you really want them to potentially dodge, and you know, if they're going to have to take a bunch of attacks, maybe in slot 3 for example, you can make sure you get a tech orb so they get extra defense and a 50% chance to dodge. If they're in a slot where they're not actually going to have to take any attacks, then you could go for an STR orb so they get an attack buff and guaranteed crit. And then of course you have that sort of middle option where you get the 70% to attack and defense, and then an additional attack that has a chance to become a super if you get an AGL orb. So the thing is, they don't have any defense raising on super, but on that turn they have the potential to get a triple super. They do raise attack for the turn, so their additional 12 keys will do a relatively decent amount of damage. So they certainly seem like an interesting enough free to play, like World Tournament local reward LR. When you think about Jackie Chun, he was pretty good on release. The thing about these guys is probably their teams, right? Because they're on Dragon Ball Seekers, Join Forces, DB Saga, Terrifying Conquerors, Revenge, Earthlings, Earthbred Fighters. But they don't exactly have the craziest links in terms of villains, right? They don't have big bad bosses. They do have Brutal Beatdown, but they have Brainiacs. They have Thirst for Conquest, I guess, which is good for an extreme unit. But then they have these other Dragon Ball links. So I guess they'll link decently well with Piccolo Jr. because they'll have these Dragon Ball links and then Thirst for Conquest. Brutal Beatdown. Brainiacs they'll share with Bulma on the DB Saga teams. So I mean, that's probably going to be your best place to run them, right? Is like DB Saga or Earthlings, Earthbred Fighters with 23rd World Tournament Goku. So they certainly are an interesting enough unit, nothing too crazy. Of course, most people, if you get them at all, are only going to have them at 55%. So, you know, they'll be interesting. We'll do a showcase for them. I'll do a 55% showcase even if I do finish first in the local, which fingers crossed I will, but we'll do a 55% showcase just so people can see what they're looking like if you get that 1 copy. But yeah, they certainly seem interesting. They do have a very funky OST, but they are the new World Tournament local reward. Then we have the AGL Final Form Cooler. So he raises defense at 1 turn on super, does supreme damage. He key 2, attack and defense 100%. AGL types get 1 key and 40% attack and defense for support. He then also launches 2 additional attacks, each of which has a rare chance to become a super, which is 10%. Like, why? It could be a medium at least. Like, come on. And then additional attack 20% up to 100 and chance to dodge 5% up to 50 with each attack performed. Then an additional attack and defense 50% when there's another terrifying Conqueror's ally attacking in the same turn. So the chance of him actually getting additional supers is very low, but he's going to do 2 guaranteed additional attacks. That'll increase the chance of getting the hidden potential as well. So he could do 4 attacks in 1 turn. He needs to attack 10 times to get his dodge chance built up. So, I mean, with the amount of additional he has built in, making it easier to proc his additional hidden potential, you probably do just want to go full dodge with him. And then, I guess, put the rest into crit, and then he has the free level 5 additional. I don't know. It's interesting because in terms of, like, damage-wise, he's probably not going to do much damage, especially with those additional normals if he's not critting. But then you probably want him to have a little bit of extra additional, because he's going to do 3 attacks in 1 turn, which means 3 chances to proc the additional from the hidden potential, but it's only a 10% chance each time if he just has the 5% for being, the level 5 for being a AGL unit. So it'll be interesting to see what the best build for him kind of works out to be, but he's an AGL support type. I guess he could be interesting. I suppose, I don't know if he survives that long in terms of the power creep, but could be interesting when run with the Dokkan Fest AGL Freezer at some point, because, I mean, he does have big bad bosses because he's a final form cooler, so his links are pretty good. He does have Cold Judgment as well, and he's on a lot of categories because he is a cooler. So overall, he's okay. He doesn't seem like anything too crazy. I mean, this rare chance, I just don't know why, with these World Tournament EZA'S, they're rare cards that not everyone's going to have. Like, even if this was each attack had a high chance, so it's 50%, that doesn't make him, like, super crazy broken. So why it's only rare chance, I don't know. But cooler is certainly interesting. Then we have the Tech Ultimate Gohan. He raises defense in 1 turn, does supreme damage, and has a medium chance to stun. Key 3 attack and defense 150, additional attack and defense 100% when HP is 50% or more. Then he gets an additional 20% with each super attack performed up to 58%. Then he launches an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super when there's another Buu Saga ally attacking in the same turn or a Buu Saga enemy. So overall, not bad. I mean, you're going to be running him potentially with Buu Saga units as well, right? Like, he'd link well with the Tech Gohan, especially once he's got his EZA and sort of come back into prominence. But all of his stuff is raw stats, and then he doesn't have any other tech. So even on his best turn, he might be able to get a decent amount of overall defense, but he's not going to be tanking the big boss super attacks. He's an ultimate Gohan, so his links are a bit on the wonky side. He has Saiyan lineage, and then shocking speed, but no prepared for battle. And he has a shattering the limit unit. So interesting. He's on a lot of teams, of course, because he's an ultimate Gohan, but he seems kind of mid, very average. Could be interesting, but, you know, I do have all of these units. I'm not sure if they are rainbow, but we will get those extra copies, so I will do showcases for all these guys. We have the Int Super Trunks, which is interesting timing, of course, for Global, because he'll have a new team thanks to the new Saiyan Day Vegeta. He does supreme damage to the enemy and raises attack and defense by 50% for 3 turns. So he's got a good super attack effect. Then he has key 3 attack and defense 150. Great chance of an additional attack and defense 150. So it's only a chance, 70%. High chance of an additional defense 100. Medium chance of performing a crit. But then performs a crit within the same turn after receiving an attack. Plus an additional attack 50%. So those are, I don't know why that's in brackets, but he has a 30% chance to crit. That should be a separate thing, surely. And then he gets a guaranteed crit if he's received an attack. But interesting. 50% attack when attacking. Interesting. His raw defense is probably not going to be super high. He's obviously very RNG based. If you get the great chance and the high chance, he'll have okay start of turn defense, especially if you did get a couple of supers on the previous turn. So he seems like he could be interesting, but he's another weird links unit for us, because even though he's a super trunks, he doesn't have prepared for battle. He has royal lineage. That's kind of it for his key, apart from shattering the limit, which he's not going to share with a lot of the other units on the teams he's on anyway. At least Golden Warrior could potentially give 1 key. I suppose it's good he gives himself 3 key in his passive, so it won't be super hard to get supers with him. But he doesn't seem that crazy. Again, defense-wise, he's all raw defense. So probably not going to be particularly good for the hardest content. Some of these World Tournament EZA'S are a real head scratcher, why they're just not making them particularly good. Like, if they can't even handle, let's say, like, you know, the worldwide celebration content that is out now and would have been the hardest content out when they were released on JP, if they can't even handle that content, then it's like, what is the point of their EZA, realistically? So this guy certainly seems quite mid, and on the turn where you get the worst RNG and he doesn't get any of those buffs, he's just got key 3 attack and defense 150% and then 50% attack when attacking. So definitely not that great whatsoever. And then we have the AGL Kid Goku that transforms into a giant ape. He raises defense on super, so that's good. Attack and defense 100, and then an additional key 1 up to 3, and attack and defense 59% up to 159% at the start of each turn. So at the start of after 3 turns, he'll have that full buff. Additional attack and defense 59% when performing a super, plus an additional 59% and attacks effective against all types when all allies attacking in the same turn are giant ape power characters, and then turns into a giant ape which when conditions are met, which is just a rare chance, which is 15%. So he just randomly has a 15% chance every turn of becoming a giant ape. No HP restriction or anything like that, so you can't really ever control when he's going to transform. He's got some big numbers in his passive. Like, once you've got the full extra 159%, and then he's getting 59% on super is pretty decent. The attack 59% and attacks effective against all types. I mean, it's very rare you're going to be running him on a full giant 8 power team, but I mean, that little bit of an extra buff is potentially nice. And he does raise defense on super, so not a bad super attack effect. And then his giant ape form, greatly raise attack, temporarily destructive damage. He gets 2 key and 59% attack. So a little bit easier to get his supers. He'll only need 4 key. But he's not going to be going crazy in terms of damage or anything like that. We know giant forms are useful utility-wise for blocking enemy supers and things, but because you can't choose when to use it, you could always end up getting it at a really inopportune time. Like if the enemy survived with a tiny sliver of health, and then you go into the next turn to finish them off before the next phase, and you get the giant transformation then, be pretty awkward. But, I mean, Goku seems okay. Out of the 4... Goku seems like he could have the most potential just because he's a Goku, so he's on a lot of good teams. This Trunks seems pretty mid. Gohan seems pretty mid. Cooler. I mean, if he had a better chance for his additionals to be supers, he could be decent. But otherwise, he doesn't seem all of that crazy. The Pilaf gang seem like fun, but nothing super broken. But they'll definitely be interesting to use. So that's everything coming with the World Tournament that is starting tonight. I mean, by the time this video goes up, technically it'll be the early hours of tomorrow for me in the UK, but I know for most people watching this, it's going to be technically tonight. So like I say, I will be live with the first part of the World Tournament Subathon, 8 AM UK time. So that's 1 AM for PST, or is it PDT, the time zone they're in now, right? And then 4 AM EST, 9 AM Central European time. And the goal will be, as long as we hit the goals and we keep increasing the timer, the stream will be on for 8 hours. That then gives me a little bit of a break before the latest episode of the Slot 1 Super podcast goes out on Friday night. And then we will be back on Saturday and Sunday for more World Tournament streams. Check out the posts that I made, like I said, on Twitter and in the Discord that shows the list of goals. As we hit the various milestones and add time to the stream, we'll be doing things like randomizer wheel runs, chat picking teams for World Tournament runs, races against people in the chat, like via the Discord, live races with viewers. That's something that people have wanted to see for a while. So all of that stuff going on this World Tournament weekend. Hopefully I will see you guys there and we can hit all of those goals. So let me know if you're excited for this World Tournament. I know a lot of people hate the grind. Some people will be excited for the Pilaf trio. Let me know what you think of the EZA'S. All your thoughts about the World Tournament, let me know in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.